Hi guys, it's Laura at Sheer Passion. I'm so excited to talk to you tonight. I actually did a video last night, and when I was watching it, I was tense myself, so I took it down and I was thinking about some of those things. So like, what about my personality that I was so intense yesterday? Why would I do a video and take it down? And what was it saying to me? It was saying a lot to me, and I think it's great, and I think it has its own time, and maybe I'll upload it again and I'll put little subtitles on there. But I was really thinking about what is my desire for people to get out of these videos. I really want you to relate to me. I want you to try to figure out who the heck Laura is and what's she all about, and how is it that we can live in the same community, and how can we think differently, and how can we respect each other. Well, if I want that for just you and I would want that for everybody, including the president. And I would want the president to then value you, and I would want the president to understand that even if he doesn't have to look at you, he can value you because he's a human being. And I want him to relate to us, and I want him to understand that if God has designed him to be better with large groups of people, then he also has to have accountability. And so lately in our culture, I have noticed that we have a lot of fear. We have a lot of ignorance, which comes from arrogance. Because whenever we suffer from ignorance, remember, we have arrogance first. That's why we don't go looking for real answers. And I suffer from arrogance, so I know what that can be like. I know when I admit to myself where my sin started. Why do I sin, or why do I lash out against my own body? Is because of my own arrogance. I don't think it completely through. If you're going to spite anyone, you have to make sure that it doesn't include you, because then you're just spiting yourself. So why would our president throw us underwater if he lives in America? Why would we have issues with not trusting our government? Why would we allow that to continue to go on if we were trying to relate to first ourselves and then the other people in the community? So these are really great questions that we should be asking each other, right? We should be asking each other, what the heck is this deal with Hillary Clinton? Why is she running? What is this deal with Trump, and why is he running? What's he really about? Can we trust the media? Is what Ted Cruz is saying the same thing as Trump, but because people don't like Trump, and they don't like what he stands for, then it's gospel over here because Ted Cruz is actually a politician and Trump is not. These are some of the things we have to talk about, folks, because if we don't talk about these things, we don't realize we can't relate. We can't relate to anything that's going on. Has anyone tried to sit down and relate to what's going on in Syria? Has anyone tried to relate to what is really happening with ISIS? Has anyone researched anything other than turning on their television and watching Fox News? What if you're not conservative? What if you're not conservative and you're more liberal? And are you only taking the one source from the television as complete truth? I would hope not. I would hope not, because you can't even do hairstyling that way. I cannot take one person's idea of color and decide to color like that the rest of my life. Because what happens when somebody sits in my chair that needs something greater and outside of that box or that source? We are living in a country that is the most amazing country in the world. I don't want to go anywhere else. We live in America. We no longer have patriotism. Why do we not have patriotism? Because we don't love the Lord. I don't care. I'll debate that all day long. You do not love your Creator, which means you wouldn't fight for the life that you have or the land that you live on. If you don't want to serve an almighty God, you're not going to admit that you lack in self-love, which means you will not take care of your body from head to toe. You will not mind your debt. You will not mind your neighbor. You will not mind your health, because the moment that you walk out that door, if you don't believe that if I don't take the best Laura outside this door, what the heck did I get out of bed for? I told my husband when I met him, if you think that somebody else outside that door is going to be better than you, then stay in bed. Because there are people outside that door that are better than you. But if you're not asking them questions of how they got there, then maybe they're just naturally talented and God has placed those talents in them. Then be happy for them and go figure out how you can be better. I know I'm not the most perfect hairstylist in the world. I actually tell myself that I'm not, so I don't have to pretend to myself that I'm the most perfect hairstylist in the world. You want to be the most perfect hairstylist in the world? People will be waiting for you to mess up. I don't want to be there. I want to be the hairstylist that is willing to say, well, I hope I do a good job every day, enough that people feel special, and I would be accountable to doing things well, and I would be accountable to running my business well. That's where I want to be accountable. I want to be the best business owner, because I would say to you, do you want to see how I pay my taxes, when I pay my taxes, how I do payroll, where my accountant is? I should be ready to show you these things. As a business owner, I should be ready to let you see my checkbook. I should let you see everything I spend my money on. If I'm hiding anything, that just means I don't want you to know the real person that I am, so you're still not working with truth. If we are not willing to ask our government to show their cards, and where the truth is. I don't think anything that you and I speak about will ever get better, because I do not believe from the bottom of my heart, and not being a negative Nancy. I'm not a negative Nancy here, folks. And I got to be honest with you, I'll be the first to be enough brass tacks to walk out that door and fight for this country. I don't think we're dealing with truth. So I think the problem is when we talk about these subjects, whether or not we're going to let Syrians come into the country, whether or not we are going to elect Donald Trump for president, when we talk about these situations, if we have never been honest with ourselves that we really didn't give a damn about Syria until we started hearing things about how people were dying, we don't care about those people because they're so far off our radar. We don't have to care about them. We don't even care that ISIS was created by the American government. If anyone researches anything from the military themselves, they will tell you this is something that the Americas has created. And you know what? Since it wasn't on our soil, so many innocent people died. And because American people want to turn on their television and watch awesome things like Modern Family, they don't really want to deal with reality. And some people are addicted to watching news. You guys know who you are out there who are addicted to watching news. That's because you get addicted to getting that rush that something's going on and you're out of control, but it angers you and you love that rush of adrenaline that's like, what are we going to do? We're all going to die. That doesn't do anything. It doesn't help. I love this country and I love people. I've had to walk away from toxic relationships every year. This is something that I do on a daily basis. I meet people, I realize they're toxic, and then I go on about my business. I'm sure people have thought that about me over the course of 34 years. And also, if the shoe fits, there you go. They don't have to spend time with me if they don't want to. See, we're relating. Can you relate to any of that? Can you go, wow, I've actually felt that way about somebody at work and I didn't really have anyone to say it to? Well, join the club. A lot of times we aren't relating anything. We're so afraid to talk about having a bad day because somebody might just go, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but not really give a damn. Has anyone related to that? Like, no one really cares. That's because we stopped loving ourselves. We stopped saying, Laura, what's it like for you to live in America? Well, it's pretty awesome. Thank you. Yep. Love it. Actually, I can own a business. I've worked for other people, but then I could open up my own business. I could choose to open up my own business and go do it. Wow. It's a good thing you're not in a Syrian country. Amen. You're right. It is really good. They would never let me have pink hair and these big earrings, I can tell you that. And then have all this extra bling. Oh no, I'd probably have a turban out of place, you know. I'd have to bling my turban. I could never live over there and not have bling. Do you know how lucky American women are? Do you have any idea? Do you have any clue that we are allowed to be in politics and we are allowed to be in the army and we fought for those rights, but then we took it too far? We forgot that there is equality in gender. Equality. But then there also has to be accountability in gender. We have to be accountable for what we do to one another. We have to be accountable for what we say to each other. We have to be accountable for lying, not showing our cards. Why would anyone not show their cards in their family? Because you're afraid or embarrassed about the things that are true. That you don't spend your money wisely, you spend it on whatever you want. Because Target's open on Saturday mornings at 8 o'clock and no one's telling you to pay your phone bill till Wednesday. You know by Wednesday you won't have that money, but then you have a grace period, so you go to Target because no one's calling you and you hate yourself. And it's Saturday morning at 8 o'clock and you like Starbucks. Nobody's going to call you out on that stuff. No one has any time because they're all doing it. As an entire country, we're doing it. Why would we be accountable at the bottom if we're not going to be accountable at the top? And why does that matter? Because it affects the entire world. Because if we're not going to be accountable on the things that we do wrong and say that this is what we're choosing to do, if you don't like it, don't participate. We're continually giving people the right to go out and be the most illogical self instead of say, you know what, you are special. You are awesome. You are important. You are valuable. But when you walk out that door, if you make bad decisions, you're going to have consequences. So wake up, smell the coffee, and pay attention. I've said it 1,000 times before. Women do not like to get involved in politics. Why is that? Because you learn, you're going to lose your tent, you're going to lose your community, you're going to lose your schools, you could potentially lose your children, and so nobody wants to listen to it. Nobody wants to talk about it. This is what I've learned. This happens whether or not we talk about it. So let's empower one another to talk about it so we understand there's decisions to be made. There's things to understand and decisions to be made. How valuable are we? When we say we are incapable of sitting down and talking things through because we've been designed to first communicate. First, we communicate to ourselves inside of our own brain. Well, we lie to ourselves, we We cause fear. We cause illogical decisions. Like, we'll just kind of wait it out and see if it changes. That's illogical. That's the most illogical thing I've ever heard in my life. Don't do that to yourself. Nothing works itself out. Science tells you that nothing stays the same. It either goes forward or it flies backwards, but nothing stays the same. Therefore, in our culture, as things are changing, including politics and this so-called religion issue that we have in our world, have you noticed that politics and religion are the two things that people are told not to speak about, because we have put ourselves down continually telling each other with this backlash that you are immature and I am immature, and we are not valuable to our communities to speak about these things at our tables in our homes and our neighborhoods and our gyms and our grocery stores, to empower every single American person to understand what it would be like to be a Syrian and what it would be like to be raised Muslim. What it's like when you're raised in an American society where people didn't communicate and religion was pushed down your throat. What is it like when people are brainwashed into believing that a God tells people to kill them because they refuse to believe in him? Why would a God have people go kill other people who don't believe in him but never show himself? And why would he get nothing from the creation that he created? I'd love to understand radicalism. Radicalism is selfish. Radicalism uses fear and the inability for people like myself to snap back and go, "You're a lying son of a gun." Nobody goes killing to get nothing from it. When you kill, it's a business. When you kill, it's a business. When people get murdered, their wallet is stolen. Somebody gains something from that life missing. Their sneakers are taken off their body. They're raped. Whatever that person wants to do, in that moment, there is control taken. There is power switched. It's a business. Because people who value a creator value life. And the only reason they will kill is when they have no other choice, because it's life or death between somebody else and themselves. When it's not life or death, and it's done out of a religious fanatic who believes that it is okay to kill and take because he believes in a creator that told him he is to go kill others, we need to start talking about religion. And how religion is very different than having faith in Jesus Christ, who died on the cross for you and said, you will literally fight with one another and kill each other and have such issues in families. And families will literally break apart right down the seams until I come back. And when I come back, this evil will be put away forever. And until then, you are supposed to evangelize this world and tell people that there was a creator who made them because he loved them. And when he started human beings with Adam and Eve, he had a purpose and he gave us free will. And it's okay that we've messed up. He knew we would. He knew we would mess up, and we'd continually mess up because we are hideous when it comes to sinning. It's just hideous. I haven't sinned less because I'm 34. I just sin differently. If you can't get that across your thick skull, that just because you think no one knows about your debt because you've never shared your wallet doesn't mean you don't have any. You're still accountable to how do you spend your money. If you don't think that anyone knows what you do sexually to your body or how you look at things or how you judge others, you're fooling yourself. It doesn't matter if another person knows well or not that you don't work on these things and that you're judgmental towards other people's decisions. It doesn't change anything in you. Nothing changes just because you hide things, and nothing changes just because you share. Just because I share with you everything that is going on inside of my head or in my life or in my family changes nothing about the final result until everyone has a heart change. Until people want to be accountable, including our president, that they are selling the American people down the road because we do not have truth. Truth is not coming through on that television. And it takes hours to research everybody's agenda in politics. Our government is so out of control and has been so out of control for so long because we are so afraid. We are so afraid to stand up and stand up for what's right because why? We know we've sinned. We know we've got our own crap. It's up to here. We don't want to stand up and talk to the president. We don't want to even stand up and talk to Pennsylvania. That includes me. I'm included in that. As much as I would like to march my little butt and talk to somebody in politics, where do you even begin? Where do you even begin? Who am I? Who are they? I'm a hairstylist, for goodness sakes. They're not going to listen to me. I have to work my way up on being a speaker. I can't just go grab a microphone. It's okay that we have made mistakes. We are not worthless. But I will tell you this. Nothing has changed about people in the Bible versus today, and nothing has changed about people in history versus today. And because we have tried so hard to put ourselves out, to take away all of the fear, to numb the pain with every foul addiction out there, including food and including sex, the two things that were supposed to bring us pleasure and life. Think about that. Two things that were supposed to bring us pleasure and life. We have allowed them to control us from top to bottom. We run from everything instead of running to the Lord. I've done it. I know what that's like. How quickly we can say the Lord's name, but we don't go to him in prayer. How quickly we can say the Lord's name, but we won't stand up for him. And I'm a little different. All of the subjects that no one wants to talk about, I believe, is the reason why our country is going downhill. I believe we should talk about all of the subjects that make people jump and wince. You know exactly which ones I'm saying. You know, it's going to get a little old if every video I have to spell it out for everyone. You know exactly what subjects I'm talking about. And because we don't talk about them, we think it'll just work itself out. That is the most illogical thing we could ever sell ourselves. Why do we sell ourselves short? We do not need to act this way. Folks, if you don't start relating to Donald Trump and where he pisses you off because he talks about subjects that you can't go very far in. I haven't met many people who've made billions of dollars. We will not get very far in a conversation with a man who has made billions of dollars. Most of us will have to be out in the first round of speaking. We wouldn't even know what it's like to have employees and then to mentor them to be better. We also don't understand the difference between being a wealthy country and being a poor country, because unfortunately, America has been a wealthy country since starting, and because we've never gone without, we believe that being richer than we are now would somehow cause problems, when we don't understand. When we do not serve Jesus Christ, we serve ourselves. For people who don't even believe in the devil as a true entity, they serve self, which means that everything in this world comes down to taxes, down to money, down to control, down to power, down to lust. Everything around control and sexuality will be owned by somebody else, but because it'll be the two things in the world that will make you cry out to make it stop, which gives them complete control over you. And it's so much fear that you will denounce any religion you've ever had, which is exactly what the devil wants. There is an agenda in this world. That is why you can't just talk to the president. That's why he can just go against the Constitution and no one will march to Washington, D.C., because the agenda was never to deal with shoulders, eyes, knees, and toes. We were dealing with an entity that is called the devil, Lucifer himself, who has demonic power on people because they are controlled by what the devil will give them on the planet. And until we want to be honest with ourselves, that we aren't willing to go talk to the man in front of the devil, we aren't willing to go talk to the woman in front of the demon. We're not willing to go talk to these people out of love and say, look, I know where you're coming from. I know what pushed you towards this. I know what pushed you towards your agenda. In your childhood, when no one was being honest, no one was talking, no one was communicating, no one tried to relate to you, no one held you, no one loved you, no one told you how much they had been messing up all day long before they came home. You were hungry, you were tired, you were cold, you were confused, you were fearful, and then you grew up. And then you decided, I'll show them. We all go down when we do not understand that religion and politics are going to destroy not just the Americas, but they're going to destroy anybody that it touches when we are not accountable to anyone outside of ourselves. And if we are accountable to another person who does not believe in an almighty Jesus Christ, who is coming back one day to stop this madness, all we are doing is staving off the inevitable. I I do not want any single person, Syrian or American, to be harmed, but I will tell you, I will choose the American people over Syrian people until the American people have literally spit in everyone else's face and said, "We do not want your help." Sometimes you have to cut ties, even if it's family. And the reality is, until people want to be honest, as the American people, have we been accountable? No, we have not been accountable at all, guys. Come on, don't sell yourselves down the river. At least sit in it. If we're gonna have muck, sit in it. Sit in it and own it. It's okay that we've messed up. We are not worthless. God created human beings, and I refuse to be shamed by the fact that our minds are quite forgetful, quite arrogant, quite stupid sometimes. And until somebody wants to admit that they have spoken stupid words, just like Donald Trump has, admit that you said you don't like somebody's face. Admit that you have no idea how to make $1 billion, even if somebody gave you $1 million and told you there's many opportunities to invest it. Now try to make it into that. If you can't start relating that you don't relate well to him because you've never tried to relate to yourself. I'm not saying that Donald Trump is going to save America, but I will tell you that if I have to choose between him and Hillary Clinton, I will not vote Hillary in. I do believe that Hillary is a murderer. I do believe that if you do any research on your own, even the Fox News, even the media that I don't believe sells truth, they did not convey that this woman is a good person, liberal or conservative. I don't think that anyone can save America because I don't believe the federal government is in control of our homes. I believe the federal government has too much power to begin with, and we need to start as an American people standing up and being patriotic for ourselves. I get up and I go to work because I realize at the end of the day, my feet are swollen now. I've stood 12 hours today. My husband will tell you I'll probably bitch and moan for the next hour about how bad my ankles hurt. Guess what? They're ankles. They don't do well standing 12 hours day in and day out. And when you stand still for 12 hours and you hold up this booty, it's bound to make the ankles hurt. That's okay. I went and earned my living. I would rather do that than sit in a concentration camp for 3 years waiting to get out while a man pisses on me and rapes me because we are fleeing from our own country because they are killing us. If anyone has guts to sit in a corner and think about how disgustingly vile that is, and how women in America wouldn't last an hour being treated like that, we would want justice. It makes me want to cry. We have no idea what is going to happen to these people, and we think we're so damn lucky because we're not them, and we don't have to look at them. Folks, you drive down to Harrisburg for an hour. Drive down between 17th and 14th Street in the middle of the night. I would rather walk in a prostitute outfit down there than I would want to live in a Syrian refugee camp. And I have, as long as I've lived, 34 years old, never found myself walking downtown after 8 o'clock in that neighborhood. We have our own problems on this soil, folks, and I believe we've given up because it's easy to close our eyes to it. It's easy to turn the television on and get all caught up in tearing everyone down when you know damn well you're not accountable to the things you do in your own home. Why? Why is there no accountability in our own homes? Because accountability is tough. It's right up there with the absolute respect. Why are we accountable? Because we know if we're not. We've actually read other books where people were not accountable to things, and when that happened, people died by the droves. Died by the millions. When no one is accountable, people don't just naturally flourish. No, it goes the opposite direction. How funny is sin? You're not accountable, you think you have free will, and because you will not talk about what's going on and you will not allow everyone in the room to understand, accountability doesn't change a darn thing. All it does is give everyone in the circle the ability to make different decisions the moment the meeting is over. Everyone in the world is afforded free will, even if you do not believe in Jesus Christ, and that's okay. But the reality is we have consequences, and if we don't start talking about these things in a mature way and allow people to have differences of opinion, you can have differences of an opinion than me. Just make sure you recognize what the consequences will be. If you believe in a different religion than I do, and you don't believe in Jesus Christ, that's okay. I'm not here to browbeat you, but I will tell you that my religion does not tell me that I need to go and kill you. What my faith tells me in Jesus Christ is that don't get caught up in religion and love people. Because when you love them, you allow them to see me, which means that a creator cared about all people. So when somebody says to you that their creator says that they must kill you, I don't believe in a creator that believes that his creation was stupid and worthless. So what would keep him from killing them once they've killed everyone else? And maybe he was just testing them to see if they had the same value for the people he created that he did. I don't believe in this radical God, Allah, that believes that people don't matter. I believe that people believe that people don't matter. And because we won't stand up against the evil, nothing is going to change until each individual in America will start sitting on the standard of themselves. And who are you accountable to? How do you live? And you tell me how everyone in America that is accountable to the way we spend our money and the way we treat ourselves allowed a $20+ trillion deficit to occur. How in the world would we trust any president when he is not working on budgeting our spending for every goods and service out here? I know we can be better. I do. I know we can be better. It's going to take a lot of hard work and it's going to take a lot of accountability. And I got to be honest with you, starting now will still cause a war. It's a spiritual war that we are fighting against. If we end up dead, that was the second war. The first war is the spiritual war. That is what we're going through. We are suffering because we have decided to denounce our Creator, and we are no longer accountable to relating to Him. And instead, church has become a business. I'm not putting churches down. Church has become a business. It's not about bringing non-Christians in. It's not about evangelizing in the world. It's not about, hey, spend less time in church and more time evangelizing. Maybe not all churches have suffered that way. Don't read into this statement, but the reality is, who is talking to the American people about Jesus Christ? No one. No one that you can name of. No one that you can name of. You should be able to say, myself. Don't look for anyone else to put in that sentence until you can say, myself. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Great. That's fantastic. I'm doing it too. We're going to keep telling everybody. And we're going to keep saying, I'm accountable. I've made mistakes. I'm accountable. That's all right. I'm all right if you call me out. The reality is, if I don't want to change, I won't change. And if it's illegal and I get caught and I get thrown in jail, well, my own darn fault. So accountability says, hey, what's coming that's yours is yours, and you're going to have to take it. Let's start talking about politics and religion before more people get killed and more people get hurt, which includes us. We need to stand up against this, but I got to be honest with you, it's going to take a lot of hours researching, and if you're not ready, well, I don't want to hear any bitching. I don't want to see any bitching on Facebook either. Stop calling people names. You realize how many people I could call names? I could call names all day long. I could make up names you people couldn't even spell. I'm fast. I'm quick. So what? So what if I can call somebody a name? When I'm not right in front of their face, that doesn't really mean anything. Nothing changes. If I think someone's an ass, if I can't talk to them and love them and talk them into how I see things, or not talk them into, but talk along how I see things. If we don't really like each other, at the end of the day, does it matter whether or not I think someone's an ass? No, it still doesn't help me make better decisions. It still doesn't help me understand who should I be around then if I don't like this person, and maybe it's something about myself. It's a continual process of accountability. It's a continual process of communication. And what's the standard that you live by? Well, I'm trying to live by the standard that says the Lord knew we weren't going to all get along, but that doesn't mean I need to continually sit down and call somebody a name. I do it. I mess up. I'm a human woman. And I'm okay with being a human woman, and I will go to the Lord and ask for forgiveness. That's all I want with us. We need to pay attention. People are going to get hurt. That does not need to include you and I. And we can speak out against this, and it's going to mean that we need to stand up. We're going to need to stand up together as families. Let's be better. Let's be honest. Let's be accountable. Let's stop the madness. One person at a time. All right, guys. This is a much sweeter video than yesterday. I was on fire yesterday. I think I'm tired tonight. I'm going to go eat dinner and spend time with my husband. Spend time with your family. You don't know if you're going to be given tomorrow. Make the best of each day. That's what I do. Make the best of each day. Bitch and moan if you have to here and there. We're human beings. Work on being better. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.